Okay, good afternoon, doctor. I am Dr. Edward Nagiat, and I would be rationalizing on our second quiz, which includes topics from neurology, part 1. For our first question, a 20-year-old female came in due to recurrent unilateral headache. Upon further examination, you note of ipsilateral lacrimation and conjunctival injection. So, what is the most appropriate treatment? So if you're going to look at this type of question, so it is a two-step question. So in order for you to answer this question, you first have to know the diagnosis. And then once you know the diagnosis, that's the time you would be able to arrive at your treatment. So the case is more consistent with a cluster headache. No? So this is the table lifted from the section of neurology from the chapter of headaches. So take note, the cluster headache has these features. The associated ipsilateral symptoms. So meaning, the patient presents with headache on one side of the face and then would present with the same side of additional symptoms, usually with eye symptoms such as lacrimation, conjunctival injection, and then you may be able to note nasal congestion, ptosis or meiosis, edema of the eyelid and or the face, or sweating of the forehead and or the face. So take note of the ipsilateral symptoms, usually with eye symptoms. And then the treatment for this condition is 100% oxygen. Okay? So, very, ano yan, no? Very tricky, no? Kasi, di ba, sa ER, kadalasan, we give pain medications, no? So, for this type of headache, kakaiba siya, no? So, you give 100% oxygen. And you expect your patient to have resolution of symptoms. So, the correct answer would be letter A. Next, so what is the most likely diagnosis? A 60-year-old female came in due to headache. Patient went together with her family inside the movie theater. Then she had blurring of vision with associated headache. So on physical examination, there was noted decrease in visual acuity with mid to fixed dilated pupil and edematous cornea. So, let us rationalize each of the pathologies mentioned in the choices. So, for the first choice, the third ventricle colloid cyst, no? So, actually, ang importante dito sa condition na to is that it is the most common tumor of the third ventricle. Okay? And then, presentation niya, severe paroxysmal and episodal attacks of frontal headache with nausea and vomiting. For the next, acute angle closure glaucoma. So, this is the answer to our question. Okay? So, meron ditong features ng decreased visual acuity, mid to fixed dilated pupils, and edematous cornea. So, the usual trigger dito sa condition na to would be pupillary dilation. Okay? So, nagpatak ka ng certain medications that can cause mydriasis o kaya pumunta siya sa isang area na madilim, magkakaroon ng pupillary dilation. So, this can push this patient to acute angle closure glaucoma. So, di ba, there's a case, pumasok daw sa sinihan. Eh, di ba, sa sinihan, madilim. So, pag madilim, magkakaroon ng pupillary dilation. Okay? So, yun yung explanation doon, no? So, bakit na-mention yung sinihan? Kasi madilim doon. Okay? So, that is a common trigger for angle closure glaucoma. And then, for the other confusing choices, itong carcinomatous meningitis, usually, may illicit yan sa history. May history of cancer, no? Usually, mga lymphomas, no? o kaya yung mga uncontrolled systemic diseases, which is not present in our patient. So, pampalito lang siya. And then, the reversible cerebral vasoconstriction syndrome, ang importante dito is that it mimics the subarachnoid hemorrhage. So, sudden onset severe, worst headache of your life, thunderclap headache, pero pag pina-CT scan mo, normal. Okay, that's the difference between subarachnoid hemorrhage and the reversible cerebral vasoconstriction syndrome. Okay, yung CT scan result. So, the correct answer for this question is acute angle closure glaucoma. So, next, what is the most likely cause of symptoms? So, a group of teenagers were rushed due to headache, dizziness, and generalized body weakness. They were apparently together inside the car, then they parked temporarily on an underground parking while waiting for their friend to ride with them because they will go to the beach for their vacation. So, what is the most likely cause of symptoms? So, kung titingnan nyo, yung situation, group sila. So, lahat sila nagkaroon ng symptoms. Tapos, lahat daw nakasakay sa sasakyan na nasa underground parking. So, mga buzzwords yan, no? Mga clues yan. So, you should think of carbon monoxide toxicity. So, areas with inadequate ventilation, usually yung mga natutulog sa sasakyan, no? Sa mga enclosed spaces. Okay? So, yan. You should think of carbon monoxide toxicity. And then, for the treatment, just like your cluster headache, would be 100% oxygen. Okay? So, tandaan nyo, no? Yung dalawang C, cluster headache, tsaka carbon monoxide toxicity, 100% oxygen supplementation. Okay? So, the correct answer is carbon monoxide toxicity. Next, so what condition should be primarily ruled out in this specific patient? So, a 37-year-old female na premi-gravid at 37 weeks came in due to severe headache. So, stable naman daw yung vital signs. Nagpa-CBC, medyo mataas lang ng konti yung white blood cell count with segmental predominance daw. And then, pertinently noted bitemporal hemianopsia. Uy, so, kagad yan? Buzzword kagad yan, no? And then, BMI of 20. So, ano ba ibig sabihin ng BMI 20? So, normal yan, ha? So, I want you to familiarize yourselves that the normal BMI is around 18.5 to 22.9 kilograms per square meters, no? And this is according to World Health Organization Asia Pacific standards, no? So 18.5 to 22.9, that is normal, no? So ang ibig sabihin lang ng BMI 20, hindi siya obese, no? So normal tong patient. So anong iisipin mo pag may bitemporal hemianopia tapos buntis? So isa-isahin muna natin, no? Let us rationalize each of the choices. So, for the idiopathic intracranial hypertension or the pseudotumor cerebri, so most common yan sa obese women. So, dito pa lang, mali na kaagad yung sagot na yan, no? Kasi, ang BMI dun sa case, normal. So, medyo unlikely na tong sagot na to. Tapos, ang symptoms na ma-elicit dito sa condition na to would be headache, tapos visual changes. Anong klaseng visual changes? So, mga transient visual obscurations. Okay, wala naman sinabing bitemporal hemianopia. And then, paminsan, magkakaroon ng back pain, pulsatile tinnitus, no? So, medyo unlikely itong diagnosis na to. Doon pa lang sa description, doon sa case. Okay? And then, one thing to take note, although wala sa chapter na to, pseudotumor cerebri is also associated with hypervitaminosis A. Okay, so pag nasobrahan ka ng vitamin A, so pseudotumor cerebri din ang isipin nyo. Okay, tapos Take note of the diagnostic criteria as well. Papillary edema. Tapos, ang focus nito would be treatment on preservation of vision. So, yun lang naman yung importante dyan, no? And then, lumbar puncture is necessary for diagnosis, no? And then, usually, pag nag-lumbar puncture ka, nag-drain ka ng certain volume dun sa cerebrospinal fluid, there would be resolution of symptoms, no? So, yon. So, the next condition would be pituitary apoplexy. So, this is the answer to our question. So, ayan, no, nakalagay. Usually due to spontaneous hemorrhage or infarction of a pre-existing pituitary adenoma. So, usually, pagka pituitary, di ba, lalo na kung macroadenoma yan, it would impinge on the optic chiasm. So, pag nag-impinge yun, ang presentation ng patient would be bitemporal hemianopia, which is present in our patient. And then, pregnancy is a risk factor. Di ba, ang patient natin, premi-gravid. So, swak na swak dun sa patient natin. Merong presentation of headache. Tapos, bitemporal hemianopia. So, yan na yung sagot dyan, no? So, the correct answer would be pituitary apoplexy. So, next, so where is the most common location of bleed in a patient with 86-year-old male? Was rushed due to severe headache. So, tingnan nyo naman ng BP, no? Halos 240. Tapos, pulse rate, tachycardic, RR15, temperature 37, 95% at room air, GCS 12. So, hypertensive bleed daw ang ine-expect mo. So, kung bleed man siya, where is the most common location? So, this is a recall type of question. Straightforward lang naman yan. So, take note, bleeding is usually localized to the putamen, thalamus, pons, or cerebellum in decreasing order of frequency. So, kung ano yung una niyang binanggit, yun yung pinaka frequent. So, the most common would be putamen. So, putamen yung sagot dyan. Next. So, how will you further treat the patient? 70-year-old female, severe headache, valvular heart disease patient siya na ang BP is 170, GCS 12. Tapos, pag plain cranial CT scan mo, may intraparenchymal bleed. Tapos, upon investigation, minsan daw nagdo-double the dose ng warfarin kasi parang nakalimutan niya daw na nakainom na siya ng dose niya for the day. So, both side ko-control mo yung blood pressure in a CVD bleed. How would you further treat this patient? So, this question is asking for the reversal agent, no? So, pagka warfarin, ano ang reversal agent mo? So, vitamin K. Okay, so vitamin K. And then, take note, pagka unfractionated heparin, ang reversal agent mo is protamine sulfate. Likewise, low molecular weight heparin. No? And then, sa mga dabigatran, yung mga direct thrombin inhibitor or factor 10A inhibitor, so idarucizumab. Pero particular ang idarucizumab sa dabigatran. Okay? So, dabigatran, idarucizumab. And then, pagka mga antiplatelets, mga aspirin, mga clopidogrel. So, take note that platelet reversal may cause adverse effects such as coronary or arterial thrombosis. So, ito lang yung condition na hindi ka magbibigay ng reversal agent in general. Okay? Sa mga aspirin, tsaka adenosine diphosphate receptor agonists. No? So, take note of this table, ha? Very important to. So, the correct answer here would be vitamin K. Next, so a 70-year-old male was rushed due to worst headache, blood pressure of 190, tapos GCS 12, CT scan, subarachnoid hemorrhage. So, what medication will address yung vasospasm issue? So, this is a recall type of question. So, take note the nimodipine ang sagot dyan. Okay? So, nimodipine is a calcium channel blocker na has a selectivity for your cerebral vessels. So, pagka nagkakaroon ng vasospasm, okay, so when you vasodilate yung cerebral vessels mo, so ma-address mo yung vasospasm. Okay, so nimodipine is the most selective for cerebral vessels. So, nimodipine ang sagot dyan, no? Ang nicardipine kasi, this is selective for your peripheral vessels, no? Yung mannitol naman, tsaka hypertonic solution, these are also medications for cerebral bleeding, pero ang goal nila is to decrease ICP. Okay? So, you review on that, ha? Pero, ang tinatanong lang naman kasi dito is yung vasospasm issue. So, dinadilate niya yung cerebral vessels para hindi na mag-spasm. So, nimodipine ay bibigyan mo. Yung most specific sa cerebral vessels. So, next, what is the Hunt and Hess score? So, 50-year-old female na nagkaroon ng worst headache, blood pressure of 190, GCS 12 din. Tapos, CT scan, subarachnoid hemorrhage. Upon reassessment, patient is stuporous with moderate to severe motor deficit. So, what is the Hunt and Hess score? So, this is a recall type of question. Makikita nyo naman yan sa Tintinali. So, kung titingnan nyo dito, GCS 12 si patient. Tapos, ito yung features niya, no? Stuporous. So, grade 4 ang sagot. Okay, so the score is 4. Next, so what is the next best step? A 50-year-old female was rushed due to slurring of speech. Last in normal is 1 hour prior to consult. So, pasok siya sa golden period. No previous stroke. Non-diabetic. Ang meds lang daw niya is losartan, 100 mg once a day. Upon checking, vital signs, BP of 190/120, pulse rate of 80, RR 15, temperature 37, oxygen rumors 95%, GCS 15, CBG of 120, neuro-PE 4 out of 5 sa right extremities. Okay, tapos normal daw yung left, NIHSS 10. Plain cranial CT scan shows no pathology at this time. So, repeat BP daw niya is 190/120. So, what is the next best step? Mag-alteplase ka ba? Pasok siya sa stroke protocol? Hindi muna, kasi napakataas ng blood pressure mo. Okay? So, let us discuss first. So, although pasok pa siya sa golden period, take note that you have to have a good BP. Dapat less than 185 ang systolic mo, less than 110 ang diastolic pressure mo. Kasi pag hindi mo na-meet yan, you are predisposing this patient to complications such as yung hemorrhagic conversion later on. No? So, dapat kontrolado mo yung blood pressure. So, pwede kang gumamit ng labetalol, nicardipine, clevidipine. Tapos, take note dito no, sa ilalim. If the target blood pressures for RTPA administration cannot be reached with these initial measures, yung mga pampababa ng BP, then the patient is no longer a candidate for RTPA. So, kailangan muna makontrol yung blood pressure. Tapos, this is just to show you the exclusion criteria for alteplase. Okay? So, medyo mahaba yan, pero nandito lang to emphasize yung blood pressure of more than 185/110 despite therapy. So, ang ini-imply lang nito, pababain mo muna yung BP. So, you give nicardipine push. Okay? So, that is the best answer. Next, which of the following is true? Provided there are no contraindications, Alteplase was given in an ischemic stroke patient. So, ano daw yung tama? So, the question asks you kung paano ibibigay ang Alteplase, no? So, the maximum total dose is ilan ba dapat? Dapat it should be 0.9 milligrams per kilogram with a maximum dose of 90 milligrams. So, mali na yung choice A. And then, choice B, 10% of the total dose be given as bolus over 5 minutes. Over 5 minutes ba? Napakabagal niyan. So, 1 minute dapat yan. No? And then, the remaining 90% of the total dose infused over 1 hour. Tama yan. So, that is the correct answer. And then, vital signs should be monitored every 30 minutes for the first 2 hours. Post-Alteplase. Masyadong kulang ang monitoring mo dyan. So, dapat Q15 for the first 2 hours. So, ito ang monitoring natin, no? So, for the first 2 hours, Q15. Tapos, 3 hours to 8 hours after, doon ka magko-Q30. Then, up to 24 hours, yun yung Q1. Okay? So, ang kadalasan naman, ito ang importante. First 2 hours, Q15. So, yun lang yung take-home message dyan. And then, take note of the statement in bold. No? So, Alteplase, 0.9 milligrams per kilo IV with a maximum dose of 90. So, hindi siya 100. Then, 10% of the dose as bolus over 1 minute. Hindi over 5 minutes. And then, remaining amount to be infused over 60 minutes or 1 hour. So, tama yon. Okay? So, the correct answer is letter C. Next. So, Alteplase was given in an ischemic stroke patient. So, aside from hemorrhagic conversion, what else should be particularly watch out for after giving Alteplase? So, recall type of question to. The correct answer here is orolingual angioedema. So, orolingual angioedema ang sagot dyan. It is mentioned in the Tintinali. Okay, so next. What is the most common cause of ischemic stroke in children? Ito, recall type lang din to. The answer is sickle cell disease. And then, what is the next best step? A 40-year-old female was rushed in the ER due to altered sensorium, stable vital signs, GCS-10. Pupils, normal. So, unang-una mong gagawin, pa-CBG mo muna. Kasi baka mamaya hypoglay lang yan. And then, you also have to rule out yung stroke mimics. No? Hypoglycemia can mimic stroke. No? So, you have to check the CBG first. No? So, that is the best answer. No? And then, this is just to mention that rapid point of care glucose determination or yung CBG nga can identify the need for dextrose. So, kung bagsak ang sugar mo, bigyan mo ng IV glucose or dextrose. No? So, the correct answer here is CBG. Kasi ang tinatanong next best step eh. So, kung normal ang CBG, that's the time you request for a plain cranial CT scan. Yung thiamine, kapag meron kang na-illicit na history or proof ng alcohol intake, so thiamine ang tamang sagot. Ang naloxone, you give it in conditions with opioid toxicity. So, kadalasan yon pinpoint pupils, tapos ang respiratory rate mo bagsak. So, yun. Pagka ganon, secure the airway first, tapos you give naloxone. So, in a patient with altered mental status, CBG is normal. Which of the following features would point more towards delirium? So, I want you to take note of this table. So, delirium, para madali nyo matandaan, delirium, sandali lang. So, ibig sabihin, transient. Sandali lang. Delirium. So, sandali lang, nagpa-fluctuate siya. Okay, so yun na yung buzzwords nyo dyan, no? Yan lang yung gusto kong matandaan nyo. Fluctuating course over 24 hours, transient delusion. So, sandali lang. So, delirium. And then, kadalasan, meron ka ma-appreciate paminsan na asterixis. No? So, maaring delirium yan, secondary to hyperammonemia, secondary to hepatic failure. No? So, delirium. Tsaka kadalasan ng mga delirium, may mga underlying cause yan, mga metabolic underlying cause. So, pwedeng infection, yun nga, ina-mention ko dito, yung hyperammonemia, pwede din yan. Electrolyte imbalance, pwede yan. So, kadalasan ng mga metabolic causes na nagkakos ng alteration in sensorium, so, kadalasan, delirium yan, no? So, yan. Sandali lang, transient. Delirium. And then, yung dementia, onset niya is insidious or gradual. Tapos, pagka kinausap mo naman, so yung attention is normal, alert naman yung consciousness. Ang impaired lang sa kanya is yung cognition, tsaka orientation. Okay, tapos, wala kang mailisip na delusions dyan sa dementia. And then, sa psychiatric disorder, so, ang importante dito is sudden onset. Okay, sudden onset. Tapos, stable din yung course over 24 hours. And then, usually, auditory hallucinations pagka psychiatric. So, saan particular psychiatric disorder may auditory hallucinations? Schizophrenia, yung mga spectrum na yon, no? Yung mga psychosis. Okay? And then, the delusions, sustained. Okay, so the correct answer here would be a fluctuating course. So, asterixis, may reduced consciousness, impaired orientation, transient delusion. So, delirium. The next, a 45-year-old male was rushed due to altered sensorium, stable vital signs, pupils normal, CBG normal. Pero may alcohol intake daw 4 hours prior. So, ano daw ang magbibigay ng most benefit? Siyempre, as mentioned earlier, thiamine. Okay? So, thiamine yan. Nakalagay dito, pagka-suspected history of alcohol abuse, so, bibigay mo siya. Pero, hindi siya necessary on all patients. No? So, yon, kailangan muna meron kang history of alcohol intake or abuse or malnutrition. So, correct answer is thiamine. Next, a 30-year-old male was rushed due to decreased sensorium. Tingnan nyo yung RR. 3 lang. Bradipniak. No? So, then, desat pa siya, 87%. Pinpoint pupils. Normal lang sugar. Biglaan daw. Tapos, kung titingnan mo, meron daw multiple needle wounds on both antecubital fossa. So, what would you think of? Baka nag-IV drug use yan. So, kung tinanong ka sa exam, what is the most likely causative agent? So, isipin mo, opioid. Mga opiates ang cause niyan. Pero ang tinatanong dito, which of the following medications would give the most benefit? So, ano ba magre-reverse sa opioid toxicity? Naloxone. So, opioid intoxication, characterized by the triad of meiosis. So, yun yung pupillary constriction. So, di ba pinpoint pupils yung pasyente? So, pasok siya. Lethargy, alteration sensorium, respiratory depression, di ba? Yung RR niya, 3 lang, di ba? So, swak na swak dito yung pasyente. So, ang management dito is you prioritize the airway, no? Kung kailangan mo intubate mo. Then you give the naloxone. Okay, so that's the correct answer. Next, what is the diagnosis in a 1-year-old male? Was rushed to ER due to seizure. Pulse rate of 120, RR25. Then, normal naman yung pupillary light reflex. CBG is normal. Pero on examination, you note soft, non-tender, ill-defined abdominal mass with rapid, chaotic eye movements and myoclonic jerks of the head and extremities. So, ano yan? Anong diagnosis yan? So, neuroblastoma yan. Okay? So, this is just to show you na ito nga, these patients, pagka nag-present in adults or in patients na who are ambulatory, you may be able to appreciate yung ataxia, no? Associated with opsoclonus, yun nga yung rapid chaotic eye movements, tsaka myoclonic jerks of the head. So, myoclonus yun. Opsoclonus, myoclonus, usually associated yan with viral illness o kaya paraneoplastic syndrome. So, alin ang isipin mo sa pasyente? Meron daw siyang ill-defined abdominal mass. So, malamang sa malamang, neuroblastoma siya. Okay, so that is the correct answer. Neuroblastoma. So, most common yan sa mga 1-year-old, no, first year of life. Tapos, it can present anywhere. Yung bukol can present anywhere, pero kadalasan yan, adrenal glands ang neuroblastoma kadalasan, no? So, yan. Yan lang ang gusto kong maalala nyo. Most common site is adrenal gland, pero it can present anywhere. So, yung sa pasyente natin, nag-present daw siya sa abdomen. Okay, abdominal mass. And then, pwedeng magkaroon ng opsoclonus, myoclonus. So, neuroblastoma. Yun yung sagot kanina ha, yung neuroblastoma. And then, ito, pangpalito lang, Wilms tumor or nephroblastoma. So, ang keyword lang naman na tatandaan nyo dito is hypertension. Hypertension. Sa retinoblastoma, kadalasan yan yung may cat's eye reflex, no? If you recall from your medical school years, siya may cat's eye reflex o may parang mata ng pusa, yung kulay may puti dun sa mata. No? So, retinoblastoma yon, no? And then, obvious naman yan, may puti, leukocoria. But when you check the fundoscopy, you will be able to see a mass inside. No? So, yan. Okay? Ewing sarcoma, pampalito lang naman to, pero ang importante dito is moth-eaten appearance sa x-ray. Moth-eaten appearance. O kaya onion peel. Okay, yun lang naman importante dyan. No? Tapos, kadalasan yan sa mga long bones. So, again, neuroblastoma siya. Pero pagka pinadescribe sa inyo kung anong tawag dyan, dun sa rapid chaotic eye movements, tsaka myoclonic jerks of the head and extremities, opsoclonus, myoclonus yan. Okay? Paraneoplastic syndrome ng neuroblastoma. Next. So, what detail in the history will support your initial impression? So, a 32-year-old male was rushed to ER by a bystander due to inability to walk straight. Stable vital signs per GCS-14, so may confusion. CBG of 110. Meron daw ophthalmoplegia. Normal naman yung motors tsaka reflexes. So, ano yan? Meron kang nakikitang triad of confusion, ophthalmoplegia, tsaka ataxia. So, ano yan? Wernicke's encephalopathy. So, what do you ask for pagka Wernicke's encephalopathy? History of alcohol intake or malnutrition. So, tandaan nyo yan. COA, COA. Confusion, ophthalmoplegia, ataxia is the triad for Wernicke's encephalopathy. Tapos ito, pampalito lang. May triad din to, itong Guillain-Barré syndrome. Pero AOA. So, areflexia, ophthalmoplegia, ataxia. So, anong variant yon? The Miller-Fisher variant. So, yan. Then, ito, pampalito lang to, tabes dorsalis, neurosyphilis. So, kadalasan, ang mailisip mo dyan is sexual history of multiple sexual partners. Tapos, ang description yan, ang patient mabagal maglakad with wide gait while staring at the ground. Tapos, sa madilim, hindi na siya makalakad. Okay, so, yun lang yung importante dyan. This is just to avoid confusion. Yung dalawang triads, no? So, triad of confusion, ophthalmoplegia, tsaka ataxia, Wernicke's encephalopathy, triads of areflexia, ophthalmoplegia, ataxia, Miller-Fisher syndrome from your Guillain-Barré. So, Wernicke's encephalopathy, you ask the history of alcohol intake. Next, so what medication can provide benefit? 32-year-old male was rushed to ER due to mild inability to walk straight, stable vital signs, normal sensorium, normal glucose, normal neurologic exam, tapos apparently likes to eat sushi since late high school to college years. Ilang taon na siya? 32 years old. So, matagal na siyang kumakain daw ng sushi. Strict vegetarian, CBC, megaloblastic anemia. So, bakit nabanggit yung sushi? So, kadalasan yan, yung mga sushi, hindi lahat, no? Pero may mga ibang sushi infected with a parasite called the Diphyllobotrium latum o yung broad fish tapeworm, which is associated with vitamin B12 deficiency. Okay, and then strict vegetarian. So, saan mo ba nakukuha ang vitamin B12? Sa animal sources. So, pagka wala kang vitamin B12, so, yung RBC synthesis mo, may problem. So, magiging malaki yung RBC mo, hindi siya lumiliit. Kasi, di ba, if you would recall, yung synthesis ng RBC mo, magsisimula yan as blast, malalaki, tapos magmamature, liliit, tapos mawawalan ng nucleus, no? Ito, megaloblastic anemia siya. So, macrocytic siya. So, kulang ka sa precursor. No? So, kailangan mo ng vitamin B complex kasi meron siyang vitamin B12. So, yan ha. I want you to take note of that. So, common hematologic picture dyan is megaloblastic anemia. In rare cases, pancytopenia. Tapos usually may mga neurologic symptoms such as paresthesias, no? Tsaka paminsan yung mga spinal cord symptoms. Ataxia pwede din, no? So the correct answer would be vitamin B complex. Last question, 72-year-old male, sinugod sa ER dahil nahilo, blood pressure of 200 over 130, GCS 14 to 15, patient had multiple episodes of vomiting with bilateral nystagmus. Pag yung CT scan daw, cerebellar vermis infarction. So, what is the expected finding? So, ang tinatanong lang dito is, anong itsura ng cerebellar ataxia, no? Or cerebellar gait. So, wide-based siya, no? Wide-based gait. Okay? Tapos, yung other choices, pampalito na lang, no? Yung pangalawa, patient seemingly lost the ability to initiate walking. So that is apraxic gait, no? So kadalasan yan yung mga stroke patients, no? And then stroke patients na involving yung frontal lobe kadalasan, no? And then yung choice C, narrowly based miniature shuffling steps consistent with festinating gait, o yung nakikita mo yan sa Parkinson's, no? Tapos yung waddling gait, no? Pampalito lang yan. Pero kadalasan yan sa pagka-bilateral weakness of the trunk or pelvic girdle muscles. So, yan. Okay, the correct answer here is A, wide-based with unsteady and irregular steps. So, that concludes our part 1 of neurology. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. If you have any suggestions, no, or may mga question kayo, huwag kayong mahiya. Okay? This is very important in our teaching sa inyo, no? So, if there are areas of improvement, so improve natin, no? So, let us know, no, if you have better ways sa ating learning program, no? So, sa ngayon, nakikita ko kasi more of kailangan well-rested kayo, mag-aaral kayo pagka well-rested kayo. Kaya, I came up with this asynchronous muna, no? You watch at your own pace when you are well-rested, no? Kaysa naman yung dati na yung face-to-face talaga kahit from duty kayo, di ba? So, halos wala kayong learning. Or kung may learning man, malilimutan nyo. So, ayun, what I am asking you at this point is you do your own part. You read at your own pace, no? So, we cannot teach you everything. We would just guide you on what to focus on sa in-service exam nyo. Pero, the remaining 60% would be from your own effort. 40%, yan yung itutulong namin sa inyo, no? Kasi at the end of the day, wala naman talaga makakapag-predict kung ano yung mga questions na lalabas. Okay? So, that is all. Good luck. Basta focus lang kayo sa clinical aspect, no? Then, yung mga tumataginting na mga clinical feature, tandaan nyo, yung mga most common, yan. Yan yung focus nyo. Okay? So, good luck. Thank you for listening. God bless po.